Good morning, third grade. I hope you guys had a great spring break. Today we're going to be jumping right into geometry for third grade. In the past, in geometry, you've learned what shapes are called. You've learned how to count corners and sides. And now we're going to be able to explain shapes a little bit further with different vocabulary, okay? So this is really important for you to pay attention to because some of these words you've never been shown before. So let's begin. When I first talk about plane shapes, I want you to know that plane shapes are just those shapes that we can draw on a flat surface. So we can draw a square, a triangle, a circle, and all those different things. So today we're going to be learning 5 math words that'll help us describe this shape. Obviously, some of you are looking at that. You already know it's a pentagon because you see 5 vertices or corners and you see 5 sides. That is a pentagon. But now you're going to learn some different parts. First thing we have is a point. A point is a single location on a line. So we talked about this when we were doing number lines. When you put a point on a line, that is just a specific part of the line, right? So we know points. So I think you can come look over here and you can see some points on this shape, right? But then we need to talk about what a line is. A line is a straight path. It has to be straight that continues in 2 directions. Do you see these arrows on both sides of the line? That means that this is a straight path that goes in 2 directions on both ends, and it does not stop. A line does not stop, okay? So the next thing that we need to talk about is endpoints. So endpoints are part of a line, okay? We can put endpoints in a line to show that it's part of a line. Remember what I said, a line does not end, but if we put some endpoints in the line, we could be able to show endpoints. Now, endpoints help us because they help us find line segments. So endpoints are the dots on the end of a line segment. A line segment is the part in the middle. It's split together by 2 different endpoints, but it's only a part of that line that does not end. A ray is also part of a line, but instead of having 2 endpoints, it has 1 endpoint and 1 direction that goes on and does not end. So that will show a start and then it'll show a continue on. So do you see the difference? A line has 2 arrows on the end to show it doesn't stop. A line segment shows 2 endpoints, meaning this is just a little part of the line. And a ray is 1 point followed by a line that goes off in only 1 direction. So a ray is half of a line and half of a line segment. See? All right, so let's continue on. So looking at this shape, we're going to be asked a couple of questions. Hopefully now that we know this vocabulary, we'll be able to answer them. So the next question we want to know is how many sides, right? The sides of the plane shape are what? Are these points? Are these lines? Are these endpoints? Are these line segments? Or are these rays? So look at these sides. These sides are called line segments. Do you see the 2 end points followed by a line in the middle? That's actually called a line segment. So instead of calling it a side, line segments are what we are going to use to describe these plane shapes. So line segments meet only at the endpoints. So this line segment is put together with this line segment and this endpoint and this endpoint. So now our corners are looking like endpoints. So how many line segments, right, with 2 endpoints do we have? Let's count. 5. We have 5 line segments because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Do you see that line segments are now what we used to call sides? And endpoints are what we used to call corners or vertices. They have different names. So let's continue on. There's another way to describe a plane shape. It's called closed shapes, which start and end at the same point. Or open shapes, which means they do not start and end at the same point. So, if we're looking at shape one way we can figure out if it's open or closed is by starting at one of the endpoints and seeing if they end at the same part. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. So the start and end point are the same. We also see that there are no openings to this shape, which means it's closed. Closed and open shapes mean the same thing. Let's look at this shape. Look at this. The start point and the end point are different. Can you see how this has an opening on the top that we can't close unless we finish the shape? So we would call that an open shape. Do you see how this is closed up? This is open. How about this shape? If we start at this corner and we follow the lines, we would end at the same point. Do you see how this shape, which looks like the letter D, is closed? There's no openings. So it's also called a closed shape. Let's do another example. If we take this shape right here, which kind of looks like a crown, we would start here. We would trace the sides. Is this open or closed? Well, the start and end point are together, which means this shape is closed. Does that make sense to you? Closed shapes do not have any openings. Look at this one. Shape number 5. The start point and the end point are different. There is a big opening. I can fit something in there, right? So shape 5 would be an open shape. Okay, so we have line segments. Oh, one more example. And shape number 6, the end point and the starting point are the same. This shape is closed. Do we see the difference of open shapes and closed shapes? How about this one? I want you to do it on your own. Look at this shape. Is it open or closed? If you're thinking to yourself, this is open, you are correct. This is a shape that is open. How about this one? Does your starting point and ending point end at the same place? Is it closed up that nothing can get in or out? No. So shape 8 is also an open shape. So I hope that's enough examples for you guys to understand the difference between open and closed. So let's go on and just do a couple examples to figure out how many line segments shapes have and whether the shapes are open and closed. So let's see. How many line segments does this shape have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has 7. Here we go. If I type in 7 and check it, it is correct because I'm counting the sides there's 2 endpoints, so that means it's a line segment, not a line, because a line has those arrows at the end to show that it goes in 2 directions forever. Array does not have 2 endpoints. Array only has 1, okay? So that's an example of you counting line segments, otherwise known as edges, okay? Now, this is how we would describe open shapes, closed shapes. Look at these shapes and describe them as either open or closed. You're gonna have examples like this on your classwork assignment. So this guy right here, if I start at this point and I trace all the sides, I would end and start at the same point, meaning that is closed. How about this guy? If I start here, will I end back at where I started? Nope, which means it's an open shape. It's not closed. How about this guy? If I start at this point, will I end at the same point? Yep, meaning this is a closed shape. There's no way to get in or out. How about this letter G? Is this an open shape or a closed shape? If you said open, you're correct. And that's perfect. We have two closed shapes that are able to stop and start at the same point, and we have open shapes that aren't connected by the same start and end point. All right, pretty easy. That's all we're going to be doing today, taking it slow. So, you are now going to be doing your personal math trainer, your 12.1 practice on your Go Math assignment, and I will see you guys tomorrow.